Cheese is a unique product. When we first started making cheese, it was a great way to have protein and fat around that wasn't meat-based.
Meet Peter Messmer, who thinks of cheese as more than this energy component in our diet because cheese is his passion.
You get certain types of flavors and textures from cheese that you don't really get from any other food. You know, like the meltiness of like a grilled cheese sandwich or like mac and cheese. Like you don't get that with anything else.
Peter is the head cheesemaker at Lively Run, where most of his cheese is made from an often overlooked source of milk, goats. He's grown up here in Lively Run in Interlaken, New York, after his parents Steve and Suzanne moved from Germany and bought the place in 1995.
Goats are a lot easier to work with than cows. The initial investment is a little bit lower up front, and we just like goat cheese. Like growing up, my mom in Germany had always been exposed to it. It was a thing that wasn't really around too much in the U.S.
The farm had started in 1985 when the previous owners capitalized on a boom of goat cheese in the area, making it one of the oldest commercial goat dairies in the country. But it wasn't as easy to keep people interested in this different style of cheese.
Initially, in like 95, 96, 97, like cheese, goat cheese in particular, was a tough sell. Chev was like a new thing for a lot of people. It was like scary and weird.
But Peter's parents, his mother, the head cheesemaker before him, kept the farm and the cheese operation going, gaining more and more interest with time. However, Peter himself wasn't always sold on the farm after going to college and trying to forge a different path in life. Although it wasn't long till he found himself back at Lively Run after college graduation.
So this was our initial cheese room. So I started working in the cheese room just, because I didn't have anything else to do and I figured I might as well make some money. And after a while, I just got really into it. So instead of getting another job, I just wanted to work making cheese. And I've always, been into cheese anyway.
He began soaking up all he could learn from his mother, books, and other local cheesemakers.
It's mostly just experience, and at a certain point, when you kind of have the basics down, it ends up just being like trial and error and let's see if this works. And if it works, great. And if it doesn't, at least you learn something.
But making cheese is no walk in the park.
You have to have a good knowledge of biology. There's a bunch of different cultures. There's 6 actual species of cultures, and then there's hundreds of different strains of each species. And different types of cultures are used to make different types of cheese. So you have to learn how each culture reacts with the milk and what environment suits it best, and then just how it develops. On top of that, you need to know something about chemistry because the other component of cheese is rennet, the coagulant. It turns milk kind of from a liquid into a solid.
However, the last element to becoming a good cheesemaker isn't from a textbook or formula.
Because there's so many different tricks and things you can do to bring out different flavors, to make the cheese distinctive in some way. And a lot of it is intuitive rather than scientifically based. Because anybody can make one good batch of cheese. The key is to make a good batch of cheese every single time.
The 22-acre farm makes all of their cheeses from hand using no artificial preservatives, just salt. Peter says this can often be tricky, but well worth the time, because to him, additives don't belong in the cheese.
It also just dilutes the integrity of the milk, and it ends up not being as good a product.
Under FDA law, all cheese aged less than 60 days has to be pasteurized due to the raw milk controversy dating back to the early 1900s. Therefore, to keep their milk's nutrition and quality as high as possible, Lively Run takes the time to pasteurize in a different method than most commercial cheese facilities.
In a factory, they do a type of pasteurization called HTST, high temperature short-term pasteurization, which is where you very quickly heat your milk up to 160 degrees and hold it there. We use a separate type of pasteurization called VAT, or batch pasteurization. And what we do is, instead of heating the milk to 160, we heat it up to 145 and hold it there for half an hour. The difference in those two types of pasteurization is that batch pasteurization, you kill the bacteria in the milk that could potentially be harmful, but you don't destroy things like calcium and the vitamins and certain of the beneficial bacteria in the milk. In HTST pasteurization, by heating it up quickly like that, you're actually destroying all of the calcium, all of the vitamins in the milk.
The factories will then have to add back all the vitamins and nutrients that they kill off. But factories still opt for HTCT because it is much quicker than VAT pasteurization, which can often take up to 4 hours at Lively Run. However, this extra care and time pays off in Peter's opinion.
You actually notice these differences in season based on what time of the year the milk is, how the goats are eating, all of those things. And when you get cheese from a factory where there's so much milk coming through, all of those nuances I think get lost.
And people started to take notice of Lively Run's dedication to quality cheese as well.
When we first started, we had 30 goats, and our demand kept climbing. We got to the point where we actually had more goats than we had space for them. So at that point, we were milking around 100, and we still needed more milk because we had increasing demand. So we basically started looking around for farmers who wanted to start goat herds. In the meanwhile, we've now expanded to 4 farms. So these are this year's kids.
They are now producing from about 350 local goats, giving them the chance to offer many different cheeses.
So this is our new aging room, so I've got a bunch of different stuff going on. We've got our mainstay products, which are basically our Chev, our Feta, our Cuga Blue, our Finger Lakes Gold, which is kind of a hard goat cheese, and Seneca Blue Moon, which is a mold-ripened Chev. And those 5 we always have. And then I've got a bunch of kind of experimental stuff that I have every now and then of different goat stuff. We also, in the last couple years, have started doing some cow milk cheeses that we sell from Lively Run. So we do a cheddar, we have a Gouda, and we have a cow's milk blue cheese.
Peter says that the Chev is the best seller all around, but he personally takes more interest in the more complex and different cheeses that vary.
I have certain batches of cheese that I really like. One comes out really, really well. It's like when you get a really good vintage of wine.
With the overall focus of more local food, the farm has been able to expand to making custom cheeses for others and has been popping up on more local chefs' menus.
People want to be able to go to the farm and be like, I can meet the guy who made this cheese. I can see the goats that produced the milk. And I think that's a big impetus for our success. Really just the changing attitude towards food.
And cheese still seems to entice all of us each day with the indescribable texture from something so basic.
The idea of taking, something really simple, right, milk, doing something to it, and then aging it for a really long time until it becomes this thing that's completely different and complex, richer in a way than the original product was.
Peter hopes to give all of his customers a cheese that they will remember.
When I make cheese, my goal is to make a quality product every time, but also not just to make a quality product, but to make something that is different and unique.
To learn more or to visit Lively Run Goat Dairy, check out their website at www.livelyrun.com. On behalf of Red Tail Ridge Winery, I'm Danielle Van Giem.